Hello and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. Today we are getting back to our Wildcards Super Kick and reviewing Wildcards 26 Texas Hold'em. This is the third book in the American Triad, and I was really excited to read it after finishing Low Chicago, which was totally badass. The book has a very cool name, but I was disappointed to find out that Bubbles was going to be the main character, because I cannot seem to click with Michelle Pond. I find her too much of a good girl. The idea of a teenage band trip was interesting, but it kept putting me in mind of American Pie and band camp there. It was very early 2000s teen movie. But the fact that jokers are still facing prejudice in Texas was realistic. Caroline Spector, who writes Bubbles, can definitely have a teenage daughter, because Bubbles' frustration with Adesina seems real on every level. So, Caroline Spector, who is the teenage daughter you're annoyed at. I enjoyed meeting Rubber Band, and I'm glad we finally got an ace with a stretching power. It is such an obvious power for someone to have that I've been waiting for to turn up in this series. Rubber Band's conspiracy-crazed landlady Jan was very funny, because I feel like we all know somebody like that in real life, and Rubber Band's interactions with Jan were funnier even than that because he was so down-to-earth and realistic about everything. The ghost hunting exploits were funny, but I didn't think we got enough of them, especially the ghost in the kitchen. I got real Ghostbusters vibes, and I think we should have had more of that in this book. But the character I loved best was Jerry Jeff. What a fun cowboy ace power to have, and the fact that he dresses like a cartoon cowboy is even better. As I've said before, I adore westerns, and I'm even going to a cowboy-themed hen party very soon, so I need to get my hat ready. Jade Blossom, the Super Bitch, created by Wilm F. Wu. With all her insecurities and strange brand of kindness, her chapter was great. I love the fact that Jade hates Bubbles, because at this point, Bubbles is really starting to grate on me, and Jade's ace sounds really cool. I mean, I know she can't really fly, she's only floating, but it's still pretty badass. I can't wait to read more about her in the American Hero books. Also, talking about American Hero, has anybody been watching The Boys and spotting all the little references to Wildcards? Moving along to New Orleans Louriann and her mosquito power and her crushes. She was such a cutie. She won me over right away, and I got a real Tina Belcher vibe from her. It was so cute. I also loved the way she really wanted to talk to another wildcard. Some of the teen dialogue in this chapter felt a little bit forced, but I didn't really care because the characters and storyline were so likable. The problem with this book is there is a lot of Bubbles chapters, and I am not a massive Bubbles fan. She is way too nice for me to relate to in any meaningful way. However, I did enjoy Jerry Strauss turning up to figure out the rattlesnake mystery. Mr. Nobody is an old favourite of mine, and I really liked seeing how his time as an ape has affected him in later life. I also enjoyed seeing a little bit of J. Aykroyd. More J. Aykroyd, please. The rave chapter with Batcho and the boys was really good, but I would hazard a guess that whoever wrote that chapter has taken a lot of MDMA before. I'm looking at you, David Anthony Durham. I don't have much to say about Dust and the Darkness. Their chapters were good but not great. I thought, to be honest, if we'd only had one ace working the case of the missing girl, it would have been better. I do enjoy learning a bit more about Blood and his brother, though. Their story is slowly coming together, and I cannot wait to put all the pieces together and see the picture. The ending of this book, with the twist being that the band's liaison officer was the one trying to get them kicked out of the competition, was good and unexpected in true Wildcards fashion, but Did we really get to see enough of the liaison officer for this to be meaningful in any way? Because I personally didn't think so. I didn't really get why Jerry turned into a giant ape again. It seemed to come out of absolutely nowhere. Did he turn just because he was drunk? Or because he watched that old movie about a gorilla? And the way they turned Jerry back was super predictable, with this being a story all about kids playing instruments. Altogether, this was an average Wildcards book. I give it a 6 out of 10. I liked Louriann and Batcho, and I loved Jade Blossom, but many of the other chapters and characters were just a little bit dull, and there was just too much bubbles for my taste. The amazing bubbles should really be called the amazingly dull bubbles. This is the end of this book review. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, comment and subscribe, and leave me your thoughts on the amazingly dull bubbles. I have a full playlist of wildcard reviews. I also have a playlist of wildcard comparison videos with the Song of Ice and Fire characters. I was also considering making a video comparing the boys to wildcards. If anybody would be interested in that, let me know. Until next time, I hope your card doesn't turn.